What's up, people? Just picked up my new Specialized Turbo Levo SL e-bike. So this is the one with the Specialized 1.1 motor that's unique to Specialized. No other bike brand has this engine in it, and it's smaller. It's about half the power as the Bosch that is in the normal Levo, and it's much lighter as well. So means a smaller battery. So from a lot of angles, I mean, this thing pretty much just looks like a stump jumper. They based it off of the stump jumper, and this thing's pretty sweet. I just picked it up, so I haven't even really ridden it yet. I did one little loop, but that was without, you know, my controls, and you know, levers weren't in the right spot. The handlebars were way back, so it felt pretty dorky. But I got it all set up now. I switched the levers around. I like a moto style where got the front brake on the right side. This thing has Fox 34s, so 150 millimeter of travel front and rear, and big tires, 29-inch. I haven't even really had a full suspension mountain bike before, so to get a full suspension mountain bike and then get one with 29 wheels and an e-bike, this thing, it just feels pretty legit. It's not motocross, but it feels like it's kind of close, and the reason I got it is because it is kind of close to moto, and it's something you can store in your apartment, pull it out, and go ride pretty much wherever. So I'm gonna do a little test. Let's check it out. All right, so let's check this thing out. So like I said, I like my levers moto style with the front brake on the right, rear brake on the left. Control wise, you got the power button with this little display. It's a very simple display on the Specialized bikes, e-bikes, and it tells you battery life. So I think there's 10 blue bars here, and they just go down until you get to the bottom one around 3%, and then the power cuts out. So right now I got a full charge, and then on the little Specialized logo there's some rings, and so as you increase the power, so that's turbo mode, that's max, where you got all 3 rings lit up. Then you can decrease it, so I think that's called trail mode, and then you got eco, and then that's completely off. So I'm doing that over here on the left side. So that's the first set of controls. You got a little walk button, so you push that, you have to hold it in, and it just gives you a slight power assistance to walk the bike. But a lot of people say this thing, you don't really need that because it's so light. I mean, it weighs under 40 pounds, so it's not something you really need. And then other controls, you got the plus to increase power, so that's what I'm doing there, and then you can decrease it, so that's pretty straightforward. And then the top is the Specialized button. So right now I'm in eco mode, so all I have to do is push this top button, the Specialized logo button, and it takes me right to the full power turbo mode. So that's kind of cool, just in case you're coming around a corner and you got a steep climb or something. You can push the turbo button and get full power without having to kind of work your way up using the plus. And then the gear shifting is all down here on the right side, so that's to decrease gear if you're going for a climb. And then under here, smaller lever is if you're speeding along and you're shifting up through the gears. Another thing I didn't mention with this thing is I got the Comp Carbon model, so that's the 7500 version. There's one lower that's just over, I think it started around $6,000, I can't remember, but it's alloy, I think. And then there's one above this with same frame, I think, but just a little better components. And then you can get the S-Works version that's like $13,000. And then there was like a Founders Edition that was a limited edition. I don't know if there's any more that you can buy. That was like, I don't know if it was around $20,000 or something. So it was ridiculous. But I settled for this. It feels crazy to me to even spend this many thousands of dollars on a bicycle, but mountain biking is expensive, and the little riding I've done on it, it feels worth it. It feels like it is. It's not motocross, but it feels kind of close, and it's something, like I said, that you can store in your apartment and pull out and kind of ride anywhere. There's a lot more trails for mountain biking than there is for motorcycles, that's for sure. And then another thing I forgot to mention is SRAM brakes and SRAM drivetrain. The exact models on the comp carbon, I don't really know for sure, but it seems so far good enough. And I just went for flat pedals you have to buy on your own, and I just got flat Specialized pedals, downhill pedals. So let's do some riding. All right, so first test. There's a lot of channels that have reviewed the Levo SL, and they're a lot more professional than mine, and a lot more technical, and a lot higher production value and everything. But one thing I kind of couldn't find is just riding in full boost mode on kind of an incline, just on like normal pavement. I just wanted to kind of hear it and see what it sounded like, and see kind of just how fast this thing goes. So that's what I thought I'd try to do. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm sitting here on a fairly, it's not, I wouldn't say it's an incredibly steep incline, but it's definitely an incline. You know, it's definitely uphill towards this office building here. So I'm down here on this parking lot, and I mean, if you were to take like a golf ball, for example, I mean, the thing would pick up some serious speed going down here. I know on camera hills always look so flattened out, but what I thought I'd do is I got it in turbo mode, so I'm just gonna kind of one-hand it vlog style and just kind of shift up through the gears and see how fast I can get. The power, it cuts out at 20 miles an hour, so if I happen to reach 20 miles an hour on this incline, even, I don't know if that's possible or not, but I'll tell you if I do, I guess. So here we go. All right, yeah, right away the power's kicking in. All right, so I definitely didn't get to 20 miles an hour, and it was kind of a lame test. You know, I was just one-handing, kind of more focused on the camera, and didn't shift well or anything. But man, this thing is just a joy to ride up the hill. It takes all the edge off of, you know, part of the biking that I don't like is I don't like when it gets real nasty climbing and you get the heart rate going like too much and you start wheezing and stuff. And you know, a lot of people, they're against e-bikes because they say it's cheating and it's not a workout, but you still get a workout. It just kind of takes that nasty edge off it, and you can go further and have more fun. And that's what most people say. And I mean, riding this thing, it's a blast. So yeah, I don't know how the footage turned out. I don't have high confidence that was a good test at all, and it turned out okay. But one thing that I noticed everybody talks about on these reviews is the noise, and so they always say it's louder than the Bosch motor, and it always picks up on camera. And so you definitely hear it, you know, now that I have one, you definitely hear it when you're riding, but it's like you can turn it off easy. So if you don't want someone else to hear it, you could kind of turn it off real quick. And it's not loud. It's not loud. Like, I've never ridden the normal Levo or any other e-bike for that matter, so I kind of have an advantage in terms of you know, not thinking it's very loud, because it just isn't. You know, if someone's walking and you pass them on the path, it's like they probably could tell it's an e-bike, but they might just mistake it for maybe a bad chain or something, you know. So it's really not loud, even if it might pick up on cameras. And the other thing is, you know, not riding a normal e-bike is I'm just so impressed with this thing. They say it's half the power as a normal Levo, but this thing is just a blast to ride up hills even. So if you have worries about the Levo SL motor and you haven't ridden an e-bike especially, it's like, trust me, this thing will carry you up the hill. So just cruising up the same hill. Yeah, it's no problem. This thing's just so fun. All right, what do you think? Time for the classic stair test. I've never really ridden upstairs, so probably fail a couple times, but let's see if I can do it. All right, well, that clearly did not work out. These things are pretty steep and probably not the best ones to try for your first time, but man, I did worse than I thought I would. I couldn't do it, so I probably looked like a spaz. I went down them though, right? All right, so I might not be able to go upstairs, but I'm telling you, going downstairs on this thing with the 29 wheels and full suspension, Fox suspension, man, it just feels like nothing. Another cool feature I forgot to mention is right here in the stem, there's this little hidden like Allen key or Allen tool set. So you just open up this or twist this cap and it pops right out, and then you just can slide it right back in, and kind of has, well, just a bunch of Allens, but mostly everything you need to adjust the bars, levers, all that good stuff. And it's kind of cool. All right, this is a pretty steep hill for a road bike. It's a pretty good road bike climb. And it's kind of just like I said, definitely working out, definitely pedaling. This is not a motorcycle, but it definitely just takes that edge off, where I'm not, this would be kind of disgusting, this climb, on a normal mountain bike or road bike even. But while my heart rate is kind of getting up with this climb, it just takes the edge off where it's not bad at all. I can even still talk, right? All right, now it's the real test, the moment of truth. Taking it out on the trail, let's see how it goes. here. Okay. Thanks. All right, back in the apartment. As you saw, I was able to get it back up here. So I live in a third-story apartment, so got to carry it up the stairs. But honestly, it's really no problem. You know, I got kind of one handle here. This is one area I grab, and then I'll usually put the other hand down here on the fork tube, or maybe just up here on the handlebar. But you know, they say this thing is just under 40 pounds, I think, and it really is no problem carrying it up or down the stairs. You know, I'm not exactly the strongest guy in the world. I may be one click above a skinny computer nerd or something, you know. So it's really no problem. In fact, it's harder probably just with the wheelbase and the 29er wheels to get it around the tight 180 corners in the stairwell, as opposed to, you know, going up and down the stairs and lifting the bike. It's just really no problem, which is awesome. And that's a result of the smaller motor and battery. So with this bike, with the Levo SL, and SL stands for super light, I mean, you do have the half power motor, and it is noisier. But you know, I guess the noise kind of comes from most e-bikes. They're belt driven, where this is all gears in there spinning around, so it is a little noisier. And you do have half the power, so those are the downsides. But with the half size battery, you actually do end up getting about the same range, they say, as normal, like the normal Levo or normal e-bikes, just because, you know, even though it is half the size battery, you do have half the size of a motor. So it kind of works itself out, and ranges are all over the place, depending on rider weight, you know, what kind of trails you're riding, and weather, if it's cold or hot or whatever. But I think they say you can get, even, you know, on turbo full power mode, you can get a full hour out of this thing if you're going up significant climbs even. So it's pretty good for an after work ride. And they do have a range extender battery, so it adds another 50%. And the range extender, it's just another battery, external battery that looks like a water bottle, and you put it in the water bottle holder here, and then it plugs into the charging port. So this is where you actually plug it into the wall. You open this up, and you just plug it in, and then you give it a good click when you're done. Make sure it's sealed up, and this thing's watertight and dust tight and all that. So yeah, I was going to talk about the fact that it is noisier and it is half the power is kind of a bummer. But the reason I decided to go with the Levo SL is because it is lighter. So for me, carrying it up the stairs, it's not too bad. Where a normal e-bike, it would probably be a bit of a struggle to get it up the stairs. And then the other thing is it looks cooler. You know, this thing looks like pretty much a normal mountain bike. It looks pretty legit. You know, you can hardly tell that the bottom bracket area is much thicker, where like the Levo, it just seems like it goes up to here. It's like a big old basket down here, and it just doesn't have the best look. And then also when it is lighter, that means you can kind of flick it around the trails a little better. Having extra weight on a normal e-bike means more stability, but this thing, you can kind of flick it around, bunny hop a little easier, that kind of stuff, which is cool. So that's ultimately why I went with this. It kind of fits my current situation the best, and it is just the coolest looking bike. The last thing I think I wanted to talk about was the sizing on this thing. So I'm 6'3", so I'm pretty tall, taller than probably the average mountain biker. So I fit in that extra large category, and sure enough, that's what I went with, an extra large. It feels like it fits pretty good. You know, I tend to be used to riding smaller bikes because I just never have had a great bike to begin with. So I'm kind of used to being a little bit more over the front. So it's a little bit strange to be kind of back. It does feel like it is slack and kind of out in front of me a little bit, where my riding style, I've just kind of gotten used to having the front wheel underneath my torso in a way with the reach. But you know, they say this thing fits me good, and you know, I have no complaints. I like it. The thing that I was surprised about was, you know, for being 6'3", I do have kind of shorter legs. My height is more my torso. So I can even get away with wearing like 32 length jeans. So I do have kind of shorter legs for someone that tall. But this thing, the extra large, the seat height was, I mean, I'm kind of maxed out when it's on its lowest setting. So this is a dropper post, and as you can see, the seat post down here is all the way to the bottom, and that ended up working out perfect for me. So when I have the seat at full height, it does seem to be just about perfect for pedaling. You know, if I'm kind of sprinting along a flat area or climbing. You know, climbing, I tend to like it maybe slightly lower than on the flat sprint type riding. But one good thing with this is having the shorter legs. It does mean I get the seat post down to the bottom here. So when I do hit the dropper, the seat, I mean, it gets really out of the way, right? It's down here, which I don't know if there's an ideal position for dropper posts. It seems like I see plenty of legit mountain bikers that, you know, are even sponsored, and I'm sure they have like custom bikes, and I'll see their seat post on the dropper kind of like halfway up here, so the seat can only go down there. I don't know if that's like preferable, but to me it just seems like if you're gonna have a dropper post, it's awesome to kind of have it all the way down to the frame. So I thought that worked out. But that is something to consider, I guess, is just if you do have maybe shorter legs, depending on what size you get. I mean, the seat height is kind of high, I found. So that's about all I had to say. Hope this was a decent first impressions video and kind of helped you out if you're shopping for one of these. But so far, I love riding this thing, and it's no problem getting this thing around or getting in the back of the truck or up in the third floor apartment. So I'm pumped. We'll see you guys later.